afternoon. I'm Beth. And today, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to paint, so I started out with the sky. And then I went on to Pixabay or maybe Pinterest, I can't remember which one, and looked around to see if there was something I might enjoy putting in the foreground. But I started with the sky because I just wasn't sure where I was going. And I did find something eventually. I found a picture of a cliff with a small tree and an actual human figure standing on the cliff. So yes, I'm going to attempt a human figure. We'll see how that goes. But first I started out with some cobalt blue. I wet the paper down a little bit, not all the way. I wanted to leave a few little streaks of dry paper so that there'd be some white space left. But then I painted in this cobalt blue sky and I let that dry. And then using gouache, which is not something I always do, but this time I did. Using gouache, I painted in the cliff and the rocks and the little hills and the distant sea. So, that using mostly just white and black gouache mixed in with a little bit of brown. So for now, I think I'm just going to hush and start painting. All right, now that I've got to the part where we're going to go paint the more distant background, I'm painting in the closest green hill. And after that, I will mix maybe a little bit of gray tone in with that green and water it down a little bit to paint the more distant hill. I did have a little bit of trouble keeping these colors from mixing too much, so I had to go back in the end and make sure that the two hillsides were distinct. Put a little bit more of a darker shade on that close hill so that it doesn't just kind of all blend together and look funny. Which some of the painting did look funny, but that's okay. And then after that, I painted in the tree. Now there's a tree here that was a little bit nerve-wracking to paint because it's a small tree and you might kind of not see it in proportion until I get the person painted in. The person is just as tall as the tree. So this is a really small little tree, and it's a pine tree, and it you know, by the magic of video, there it is all finished. And I didn't paint in every little needle. You know, I just sort of put in the indication of the greens and the darker greens, and left it at that. This time here, I'm painting the sea in the background. I can't find my words today. The sea in the background with cerulean blue, and getting that all painted in. And then I'm going to paint in the figure. So and that is about it. I use this kind of a watery mixture of burnt umber and orange for the skin. And he looks a little bit like a stick figure, poor guy, but you know, I'm trying, I'm learning how to do figures. Hopefully I'll get better with time. But I think that the overall picture turned out pretty well. At this point, I'm just filling in some details. I hope that if you enjoyed this video, that you will like, give me a little thumbs up, and maybe leave me a comment. Let me know you saw the whole thing. If you did, thank you for sticking with it. And hope